Hey guys, John back with another anti-guru video. Do you like the new front end of the videos? A really good friend of mine, Gavin Kerr of GK Videography, put that lot together from stock footage, would you believe it, that he had of me over the years, and we're really proud of it. Right, today's topic of discussion, and for the first time in a long time I'm able to do a proper anti-guru, because this one is targeted at a guru, and it's targeted at a guru that, as always, will remain nameless on the anti-guru, but we're going to give him a code name. Now I've gotten into the habit privately of giving all gurus code names, and they're code names of root vegetables. So this one is against Mr Parsnip. We're going to call him Mr Parsnip for now. Let's see if people can work out who Mr Parsnip is. But our subject for today is on serviced accommodation and the activities of Mr Parsnip. So, what's been going on, what's happening, what's occurring? So we've been tracking Mr Parsnip's activities for a while. We've been looking at what's going on there, looking at the quality of the education coming out, looking at the funnel. And lo and behold, Mr Parsnip operates free events in very expensive hotels where you get lunch and dinner and drinks and coffee and beer and wine and all of that. You get wined and dined, ready for the big upsell at the end. You get mentally massaged so that you're ready for the big upsell at the end. The big upsell is a big upsell, by the way. The figure that I've seen for mentoring from Mr Parsnip is huge. Mr Parsnip's history in property isn't that great. He goes back to about 2015 or thereabouts. He was a brand new property investor in 2014-15. So not a great history for Mr Parsnip. But he's operating in the serviced accommodation space. Now, let's just deal with that. Let's just deal with what SA is. SA is serviced accommodation. This is accommodation where you effectively pay the bills. It's short term. Think of Airbnb or similar. Holiday homes used to be a form of serviced accommodation. The definition actually is incredibly broad. You typically rent these spaces fully furnished to individuals that effectively treat them like a glorified hotel room, except they're fully self-contained. They have kitchens in them, dining areas, etc, etc, etc. They're little flats, only they are not used as a primary place of residence. They're a secondary place of residence, a place someone goes when they have to work away or whatever else. Okay, so that's what SA is. Now, Mr Parsnip has been operating in England and Scotland and has built up a little SA empire for himself, and all power to him. Well done him. In fact, the planning authority that he has most of his SA with has now decided to bring forward an Article 4 direction against him, which is highly amusing. Certainly from my point of view, every once in a while a property guru puts out an A4D because of their activity. We've seen that with a few other gurus. They basically get the game to such a degree that at the end of the day the council has to react and you get an Article 4 direction. But what's so dangerous about Mr Parsnip? Well, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, and the title of the video is "You Just Cannot Do SA in Central London." And the reason for that is what you're not told. Now, this is the anti-guru. We're going to tell you what you're not, very, very simply. So, bit of history for you. Way back in 1973, the Greater London General Provisions Act was brought forward, and that act included within it a restriction on short-term sleeping accommodation, ladies and gents. Yes, Airbnb was outlawed effectively in London in 1973. Now, I bet you didn't know that. I looked it up. I was very interested to see what this was. We today call it the London 90-day rule. Now, the 90-day rule takes its legal basis today from the 2015 Deregulation Act. The 2015 Deregulation Act is there to prevent short-term sleeping accommodation in family homes. The whole point of the provision is to enable Londoners to buy property, to enable Londoners to function in homes, and to prevent a spate of essentially houses becoming Airbnb style accommodation. Now, Airbnb reacted to this. Airbnb has reacted to this, and you cannot get more than 90 days advertised on Airbnb in any one property in any calendar year. Very simple, very straightforward. Now, why is this a problem, ladies and gentlemen? Well, very, very simple. It's a breach of planning control. This is the anti-guru after all, and I am a planning consultant first. So, it is a breach of planning control to use a property in central London for more than 90 days in any calendar year as short-term sleeping accommodation, where the person living in that short-term sleeping accommodation it is staying there temporarily. It's not their permanent place of residence. Isn't that simple to understand? 90 days. Now, it's a problem, ladies and gents, because what happens on these courses? Our friend Mr Parsnip has a lovely course, and I'm sure it's very, very good, but what he doesn't tell you is more dangerous than what he does. He does not talk about the 90-day rule. Doesn't reflect upon it at all. He tells you can do serviced accommodation everywhere. Now, the problem is when it comes to things going wrong. I, as the unfortunate planning consultant that I am, deal with the inquiries at the back end when the advice given by gurus on where you can and cannot do serviced accommodation goes wrong. Advice given by Mr Parsnip, and to be fair others in this space, ignoring the 90-day rule, because if you told people you couldn't do it in the most vibrant and prosperous city in the country, they would walk away from the strategy, means that when you are caught and they do catch you, there is very little a planning consultant can do to save you. In most cases, this type of thing is deemed unacceptable by planning authorities because their policies say that it will put tourist accommodation in certain places. Alright? That's London. The problem is spreading. Now, what happens in London radiates out. It slowly gets there. And unfortunately, courses, as put out by Mr Parsnip and others, do not tell you the problems. They only tell you a wonderful fairy tale upside. So, unfortunately, this is the anti-guru. I'm going to tell you the downside. This is spreading. So we're aware at the moment of about 9 planning authorities out of the 160 odd in England that are currently considering the reality of serviced accommodation. Now, this comes as part of an appeal decision. The appeal decision was in Cambridge and related specifically to whether or not flats used as Airbnb amounted to a material change of use. It was based off an enforcement notice, and if you don't know what an enforcement notice is, it is the business end of the planning system where things can and often do go wrong. You don't want to be in enforcement. Now, that case concluded that because of the nature and type of the accommodation, because it was less than a week or 2 weeks stay at a time, it was nights at a time, the use was not a dwelling. It was not an HMO. It was serviced accommodation, and because it was serviced accommodation, that was deemed to be a sui generis use, a use to itself, requiring planning permission for which the flats did not have. And moreover, the inspector also ruled that he would not give planning permission for serviced accommodation because the effect of the use was so harmful to the occupiers of the surrounding flats. Isn't that interesting? I bet you didn't hear that when you went on Mr Parsnip's serviced accommodation course, or others for that matter. Now this problem is spreading. Blackpool decided that serviced accommodation in its area is a sui generis use. Bournemouth has already decided that it's a sui generis use. Hinckley and Bosworth, which is near Nottingham, has decided that it's a sui generis use. Portsmouth has just gone sui gen. It is very much a case that the councils are making judgments on what is and is not serviced accommodation based on the Cambridge case. Interestingly, there have been some variations on the theme. Southend decided that serviced accommodation was within class C1. Now, still not, ladies and gentlemen, a dwelling house use, as otherwise explored by Mr Parsnip and others. I'm enjoying this one today because I've been tracking this problem for a while, and this in theory is going to be part of a series of explorations into the activities of Mr Parsnip. The upshot of the start of this story is, if you are told by a guru that you can do serviced accommodation everywhere, then the answer is sadly no, you cannot. There are individual restrictions. You certainly can't do it up in Scotland where there are specific rules. You certainly can't do it in Wales where it's considered a unique use. You most definitely can't do it in central London because of the 90-day rule. So that is not everywhere, is it? What you need to do is do your due diligence. Do your homework on the guru that you are listening to. I did my homework on Mr Parsnip, and it was amazing to find that there was not one negative review on YouTube. What there was, in fact, was a large number of positive reviews, all put out by his company. So all in his own YouTube channel, all put out under his company and his branding. What a shocker there is. Right, I'm going to leave that thought there for you guys. I'm going to continue my research on Mr Parsnip. This is going to be quite fun. I'm not going to reveal the name. That would be wholly unethical. I'll let you make your own judgments and come to your own conclusions. I'd love to hear your thoughts on SA and where SA is going. We are tracking it. So we are tracking it as a planning consultancy to see where this rot of SA is sui generis is spreading to and from. It all seems to revolve around the Cambridge case, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on where SA is going to next. Remembering, of course, that the Labour Party wanted to give it its own use class. That probably would have been the kindest thing to do. Alright guys, have a great day. I'm sorry it's been a bit of a rant. Every once in a while on the Anti-Guru, we do a rant. And that's kind of why you tune in. If you've enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.